to shoot at least 70% three-point range on at least 20 three-point attempts in a five-game span. You know who else is on that list?
Caldwell spent 3 years in the WNBA, 2 in Atlanta, 1 in Indiana. Kelsey Mitchell knocking it down.
Want to get 2 or 3 closeouts each possession, and if you do that, you're probably going to have a team in rotation, and you're probably going to have some mismatches.
Clark, step back 3. She connects.
Did you know that in previous matchups, the Atlanta Dream held Caitlin Clark to just 12, 7, and 16 points? Fast forward to this game, 26 points and 12 assists. What changed? How did Clark flip the script? We're about to dive into the numbers and plays that made this game a turning point. The Dream's defense had Clark's number before. They shut her down like a locked vault. But this time, Clark cracked the code. You might be wondering, what's the big deal? Here's the thing. Chrissy Sides, the Dream's coach, is known for her defensive magic. She's got a reputation for making stars disappear on the court. So what happened when the unstoppable force met the immovable object? Sparks flew. That's what. Clark didn't just score, she ran the whole show. Want to know how she did it? Stick around. We're about to break down every move, every pass, and every shot that left the Dream's defense in shambles. You'll see exactly how Clark turned the tables and left everyone wondering, is this the future of the WNBA? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Remember when we said Clark ran the whole show? That started from minute 1. 6 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. And that's just the appetizer. What secret sauce did Clark bring to the court that had the Dream's defense scrambling from the get-go? Clark's early game mastery was nothing short of spectacular. She came out swinging, serving up a first quarter performance that left the Dream wondering what hit them. It's like she flipped a switch and suddenly the court was her playground. Let's break it down. In just the first quarter, Clark racked up 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. That's not just good, that's I'm here to make a statement good. But here's the thing, it wasn't just about the numbers. Clark was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. You see, Clark's early burst forced the Dream to rethink their entire game plan. Coach Chrissy Sides, known for her defensive wizardry, found herself back at the drawing board before the first quarter even ended. It's like Clark looked at the Dream's defense and said, "Nice try, but I've got other plans." Want to know what really set Clark apart? It was her court vision. She wasn't just seeing the game, she was seeing 3 moves ahead. There was this one play where Clark had the ball at the top of the key. The Dream's defense collapsed on her, thinking they had her trapped. But Clark, she threaded a pass through a gap so tight you could barely see it, finding her teammate for an easy layup. It's the kind of play that makes you rewind the footage just to figure out how she did it. But Clark wasn't done there. She kept the Dream guessing all quarter long.
One-on-one for Boston, spins away from the help. That's a big-time post move right there.
And trying to free up Mitchell, she can't get open. Boston takes it herself, fires it up, and it stays down. She's going to try her luck on the offensive end. Fagbenle ducks in and finishes.
How about that, back-to-back?
Fagbenle, handoff Clark, launches, and hits a 3! We are level!
1 minute she's driving to the hoop, the next she's pulling up for a 3, and when the defense tried to adjust, that's when Clark turned into a passing maestro, dishing out assists like they were going out of style. Here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's dominance didn't just impact her own stats. It opened up the floor for her teammates. Suddenly, Aaliyah Boston found herself with more space to work. Why? Because the Dream was so focused on stopping Clark, they left gaps in their defense. And Clark, being the basketball genius she is, exploited every single one of them. You might be thinking, okay, but it's just 1 quarter. Anyone can get hot for 10 minutes. But that's where you'd be wrong. This wasn't just a hot streak. This was Clark showing the world why she's the future of the WNBA. She didn't just outplay the Dream, she outthought them, outmaneuvered them, and left them scrambling to keep up. Think stopping Clark is tough? Try being the coach who has to figure out how. As the game wore on, the Dream's defensive playbook started looking more like a desperate plea. What made Clark so impossible to contain? And why did every attempt to slow her down seem to make things worse?
Mitchell pulling up off balance, knocks it down. That's a deep 2. Mitchell still scoreless since the first quarter. Mitchell on the drive, scoop shot, and gets the roll.
3 for 4 here in the second.
Clark leaning into Canada, just got it up off the glass and got it to go.
The Dream's defense found themselves in a classic damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. They threw everything but the kitchen sink at Clark, and she still managed to cook up a storm. But here's the kicker. Their laser focus on Clark created a whole new set of problems. Let's break it down. The Dream's defensive strategies shifted more times than a chameleon changes colors. They started by blitzing Clark, hoping to throw her off her game. But Clark, she just shrugged it off and kept on rolling. Then they tried leaving her open, thinking maybe she'd cool off. Spoiler alert, she didn't. But here's where it gets really interesting. All this attention on Clark, it opened up a buffet of opportunities for her teammates. Aaliyah Boston in particular was feasting. The Clark-Boston pick and roll became the Dream's worst nightmare. When the defense doubled Clark, she'd find Boston for an easy bucket. It was like watching a game of basketball whack-a-mole, with the Dream always one step behind. Jordan Canada, the Dream's defensive ace, found herself in the hot seat. Now, Canada's no slouch. She's a 2-time steals leader, but trying to contain Clark, it was like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. Clark's moves had Canada spinning more than a DJ at a dance party. This is where the real magic of Clark's game shines through. She doesn't just score, she elevates her entire team. The Dream's defense was so fixated on Clark that they left gaps wider than the Grand Canyon. And Clark, being the basketball genius she is, exploited every single one of them. Remember that Clark-Boston pick and roll we mentioned? It became the Dream's kryptonite. Clark would come off the screen and the defense would panic. Double Clark, she'd dish to Boston for an easy layup. Stay home on Boston, Clark would pull up for a jumper. It was basketball's version of choose your own adventure, except every choice ended with the Dream losing. But let's not forget the mental game at play here. The Dream's defense was in a constant state of flux, always reacting, never dictating. And that's exactly where Clark wanted them. She had the Dream's defense dancing to her tune, and she was calling all the shots. This is the kind of performance that separates good players from great ones. Clark didn't just beat the Dream's defense, she outsmarted it. She turned their strengths into weaknesses and exploited every crack in their armor. It's the kind of play that has coaches scratching their heads and analysts rewinding footage. Just when you think you've seen it all, Clark decides to take things up another notch. You might be wondering, how much more damage could one player possibly do? Well, Clark's fourth quarter performance is about to redefine what it means to take over a game. The score was tight as the final quarter kicked off. Both teams were hungry for the win, but Clark, she was starving, and she was about to feast on the Dream's defense like it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. Remember that 8-0 run we mentioned? That wasn't just a run, that was Clark putting the entire team on her back and saying, we're winning this game and I'm gonna make it happen. From 67 to 61 to 75 to 69, Clark turned the game's momentum on its head. But here's the kicker, it wasn't just about the points. Clark was responsible for 10 points in a row for her team. That's right, 10 points in a row in the fourth quarter of a close game against a team known for its defense. Let that sink in for a second. You want to talk about clutch? Let's talk about that fadeaway corner three-pointer. With the shot clock winding down and a defender in her face, Clark pulled up and drained it like she was shooting in an empty gym. That's the kind of shot that separates the good players from the great ones. But Clark wasn't done. She followed that up with another bucket and then an assist. It's like she looked at the Dream's defense and said, nice try, but I've got other plans. And those plans, they involved completely taking over the game. This isn't just about scoring though. Clark's run showcased her entire skill set. She was scoring, she was assisting, she was making plays that had the Dream's defense looking like they were stuck in quicksand. It's the kind of performance that makes you question if you're watching a rookie or a seasoned veteran. Clark's ability to dominate in high-pressure situations isn't just impressive, it's a lesson in mental toughness. When the game was on the line, she didn't shrink, she grew, she adapted, she overcame. And that's a skill that translates far beyond the basketball court. Think about it, how many times in life do we face high-pressure situations? Whether it's a big presentation at work or a crucial exam, we all have our fourth quarter moments. And Clark, she just gave us a masterclass in how to handle them. Clark's performance against the Dream wasn't just impressive, it was game-changing. She didn't just score, she orchestrated an entire offensive symphony. Her ability to overcome elite defenses through skill, adaptability, and teamwork left everyone stunned. This game shifted how people see Clark's impact. She's not just a scorer anymore. She's a floor general, a playmaker, and a leader all rolled into one. Clark didn't just beat the Dream's defense, she outsmarted it, turning their strengths into weaknesses. But here's the real question. How will Clark's influence shape the future of the WNBA? As she continues to evolve, will we see teams completely overhaul their defensive strategies? Will other players start to emulate her style? One thing's for sure, the next time Clark steps on the court, all eyes will be on her, waiting to see what she'll do next.